I am sitting here at Hardcore Closer headquarters with my man Josh Madrid. I found him on Instagram. I've been following him for a while. How many followers you got on Instagram?
About 166,000 now.
A lot. He said about.
Not enough though. Not enough.
He got a lot of followers, and so I found him through like the recommendations that Instagram gives you, and I started watching him. And this is about 6 months ago, and I noticed, man. First of all, him and his crew are real young. And how old are you?
20.
So real young, you know, and I'm sorry, now I'm feeling real old. and these guys got Lambos, and you got like a GTR, right? Like,
yeah.
They got crazy cars, man, and they're youngsters out there just doing crazy stuff, making crazy money off the internet. And you guys got, like, how many hustles you think you got?
A lot of different
man.
ones. Obviously, we have a few main ones that we really focus on, but we have a lot of different ones. Whenever there's opportunity in the market, capitalize, as well as just network with a ton of different people, you know, teaming up on this business, teaming up on this launch. So whatever keeps cash flow coming in.
Man, so one of those hustles, the first one that I found from you was the ATM stuff, man.
Right.
You still do that?
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about it.
So a little bit about the ATM business. It's actually a very old traditional business model that not a lot of people are familiar with. I think a lot of people, they see ATMs inside barbershops, they see ATMs inside of salons and all these different places, and nobody ever thinks anything about it. It's just that's an ATM. You know, a lot of people think maybe banks own ATMs, but probably about a year and a half, close to 2 years ago, one of my business partners from a different business, he came up to me pretty much saying that, hey, we should look into being part of the ATM business, placing ATMs in local businesses, and every time somebody uses it, we get paid. At first,
that $3 ATM fee isn't a bank fee. It's
right.
Like whoever owns
whoever owns
the
ATM. So at first, I couldn't really like process that. I was kind of confused because I thought, banks own ATMs, and I'm like, wait, people are pulling out money. How am I getting it back in my bank account? But it's the money, it's our own money that we're stocking with the ATMs. So I ended up looking into it. Eventually, he convinced me to do the business. It makes sense, and I had a lot of money saved up from prior years of business. And so pretty much I invested as a passive partner into the ATM business, and he was going around and actually refilling these ATMs. And a lot of our ATMs, I'd say about 80% of them are actually in the cannabis industry, right? Dispensaries and stuff like that.
You can't use credit card at the weed place.
Right. So these are like high volume machines. So these are $1,000 to $3,000 of profit each month. And now we have over like 50 ATMs between the both of us, and we have employees that go and fill them up. So we don't even fill them up anymore. And then on top of that, what you heard about from us doing it is that we decided to pretty much put together training where people can essentially like franchise our business model, because it's not like e-commerce where there's like a ton of different variables and you have to run ads and it might work. It's either like you put it in a location and it makes money, or you put it in a location that's not busy and doesn't make money. It's very black and white when you learn how to do it.
Right.
So we did that, and I talked about it on my social media. I didn't think people would be interested in it, to be honest, because at first I was interested in it and I was like, this sounds like a lot of work. But I think because it's a tangible business model, people can like vision themselves doing it instead of being on a laptop all day.
Plus, it's cash.
Yeah, it's cash. Cash is very appealing.
When you run an ATM business, one like cheat code that you get is you get to take pictures with stacks of cash for Instagram. You know what I mean? Like that's a little added bonus. Yeah, that's a little added bonus there.
Yeah.
So think about that. Like, so dispensaries, like, because he lives in California in Orange County. So dispensaries out there. I know I went to one in San Diego last one I was at. There's probably 50 people in line, and when I left there was 50 people behind me by the time I left there. So, and I was there for maybe 30 minutes. I mean, it was a big place. They were running people in and out of there left and right, and almost everybody hit the ATM while they were waiting on the gatekeeper to let them in. And so, I mean, I think the ATM there was like $3 a pop. Now, do you have to split that with the person?
Yeah, so it just depends on what you negotiate. So for our most of our
depends
ATMs,
on their sales skills. That's what he said.
Yeah. So for most of our locations, we actually charge $4 to $4.50. But some people charge $2 in a lower volume area. It kind of really just depends on the location. So for some places we don't split anything. For some we split up to like 40%. Gotcha. But it really doesn't matter, because for the business owner it's kind of a win-win no matter what. It's, hey, you're gonna have more cash coming into your business, and let's say we even negotiate 20% of the fee that we give to them. It's like, hey, this is an extra 20% of each transaction that you're gonna just get for free. Having an ATM here doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
You don't lose anything if you don't put it there.
My cash, my risk, my machine. You just get paid from it.
Yeah. So it kind of just depends each location. Preferably we'd like to not give them anything. But some people might be like, oh, I had another person come in here who's willing to give me this, and it kind of just becomes negotiating at that point.
Gotcha. So how did you get it? So you're 20 years old, man. I didn't discover this stuff till I was about 30.
Right.
So you got a 10-year jump on me. How do you get like roped into this online marketing make money world?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. My dad used to do e-commerce like back in like '97.
Really?
Before the dot-com bubble burst, he had a company that was doing like 7 million annual sales annually.
Oh, cool.
But the dot-com bubble burst. At the same time, he was also in med school, so he couldn't manage the business himself. So he had like his dad.
So hang on, your dad's a hustler too. He got
yeah.
e-com business and in medical school. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, so he was trying to do both.
Yeah.
But then the dot-com bubble started to burst, and my dad had his family members who had no business experience at all managing his business so he could focus on school because I was just born. And so pretty much the company went bankrupt within a few years.
Let that be a lesson too. Go find professionals. Don't let your family do stuff.
Yeah. So he actually went, the business went out of business. He had pretty much no money left over. Our family, we find out, was just splurging, buying all these crazy things. I think like CD players just came out or something like that, and they're buying, all the friends and family, all this stuff. So my dad had a decision. He's like, try to rebuild this business after the dot-com bubble burst, which he probably should have sold it before that. Or focus on medical school, which was the for sure route to one day be successful. So we ended up going the medical school route, so I think it was second grade. I wanted to buy my first pair of Vans. Vans were like trending at school, everybody was wearing it, and I asked my dad to buy me these. And my parents were the type of parents that were always like, if you want something, you have to buy with your own money, like forever. So in second grade, in second grade though, I'm like, how the hell do I come up with $45? So my dad, he already knew about these Chinese supplier websites where you can find products for cheap. So he bought me these beanies. He gave me pretty much like a $30 loan, bought like 10 beanies. And I went to school and I went to like my daycare. I used to convince kids and kids' parents to pay me like $5 for these beanies. And so I made like however much I made, I think like 50 or 60 bucks, paid back my dad, and I bought this pair of shoes. These ended up becoming my favorite pair of shoes, wore them every single day. But long story short, that was second grade. Each year, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way up to ninth grade, I started selling cases, shirts. When I got to 8th grade, I was selling snapbacks because the song Snapbacks and Tattoos just came out. So like it was trending, so it was always based off of trends what I was selling. In 8th or 9th grade, I started selling jewelry, so like silver plated chains, gold plated chains. Kids at my school, I was buying them for $2 to $5, selling them for $80 at school. Wow. So I bought my first car cash at like 15 and a half, like 14 grand. I was a car person, so I'm always like souping it up, doing all these cool things. At 17, right before I turned 18, I wrecked it. And I was being cheap and didn't have the best insurance, so I lost pretty much all the money I put into the car. And I think I got back like maybe like $2,500. And I bought like my grandpa's old 2002 Toyota Tundra with that. And my ego was kind of shot down. I was kind of like, feeling down as I had such a cool car. Spent all these years, saving up, making it look cool. And now I'm driving, this. To me, that was a piece of shit because I was used to having a nice, nicer things. And I was kind of, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I had scholarships lined up for track and field, but I really just wanted to find something else. So I got into the car flipping business. I met this one guy and I pretty much started giving him money. He flipped the cars from the auction. I'll sell them on Craigslist. And then he scammed me. He pretty much built my trust up enough for me to give him more and more money. Gave him about 10 grand, and then he scammed me and just went MIA. And I never knew his real name. I should have learned all that information. So that was another big loss. And then I got
a big lesson.
Big lesson. And I realized I thought he was a cool person. I thought, he was very professional, but ended up being he was a professional con man. I ended up finding out he was like on the FBI's like most wanted list for like conning people. Damn. So then I got introduced in high school to network marketing. Pretty sure you're probably familiar with network marketing. Yep. So I did that for about 2 or 3 months. I was decently successful, making about $2 to $4 grand a month in network marketing in high school. But lost a ton of friends at school. The people who weren't interested were, making fun of me, making pages on social media.
Here comes Josh with fucking vitamins again.
Yeah. Saying it's a scam, saying, it's too good to be true, it doesn't work, etc. And I was still focused on, this because the culture was good, the networking, I met all these different people, the environment, and I fell in love with that culture, right? I fell in love with the hustling and selling. And so,
which one were you part of?
I was part of a company called Zengo. Okay. It was the company that everybody went to when Vima up and down. Gotcha. With Vima. And so I did it for about 3 months, but I was like, yo, this is taking way too much input on my end and too much work on my end to maintain this sort of income. Mm-hmm. People are falling off. The people that we're bringing in, only a few of them are actually winning. I was like, there has to be an easier way where I don't have to drive all these miles to do home events and speak in front of all these different people and invite everybody every single day to the events for me to make the same amount of money. And that's when I went online and I started doing research, and I came across like e-commerce, Shopify, print on demand, as well as affiliate marketing for like software companies, like pretty similar to like companies like phone sites. And so dived into that, studied it for months and months and months. School ended. And at the same time, I was also building a fitness brand, doing personal training. That's how I was making money then. And people wanted to buy like apparel. So that's how I started getting into print on demand, because people wanted to buy my fitness apparel. And then I was like, why can't I just make apparel and sell to anybody and everybody? Right. So I did like
put a label on it.
Yeah, so I started doing like Instagram marketing, building pages and stuff like that. And long story short, from graduation of high school to pretty much starting college, I went from making only a few $1,000s a month to about $7,000 a month starting college. Went all in with that, and then started doing like social media marketing, building on people's brands, helping people grow their Instagrams, white labeled an Instagram growth company, so like software as a service. Literally kind of did everything. Even flipped Instagram pages at one point, used to build them, sell them, affiliate marketing with big Instagram pages, doing shout outs. And long story short, made 27 grand my 4th month of college, decided to drop out, and got invested into another software company that I pretty much did all the marketing for, and grew it to about 600,000 in about 4 months with another business partner. And then me and him teamed up e-commerce, and long story short, pretty much that's led to where I'm at today, doing multiple different things with social media, consulting, and internet marketing.
Man, so dude, you had like for most people what would be considered a lifetime of experience in about 5 years.
Right.
And I mean, like, aside from the hustling to get shoes for school and stuff like that, I mean, really, you bought a car at 14 and a half, 15 and a half, whatever you said, and then, got scammed. Like hit the thumbs up button if you ever started a business and been scammed by someone. Matter of fact, hit the heart button if you started your first 1 or 2 businesses and you got scammed by somebody and had to start all over. I'll enter the first heart and a like, shit. And I mean, that happens to almost everybody. Most people, they get so scared of it. They're like, oh man, this dude ripped me off. This business is not for me. But really, you have to look at it as a lesson. Like, you should have got your paperwork. You should have, like you said, you should have known the dude's identity. You should have had some agreements in some way to track him down, right? But you don't know that as a kid. But a lot of people that, for you, $10,000 is a lot of money. But some people, man, they'd be 40, 50 years old and they'll invest $100,000 with someone from their 401k or their savings or equity from their house and not even have those facts. So it's a good thing that you learn that at a young age. And then, for me, I went through the same thing. It was like I got into multi-level marketing for a few months and I made some money, ran some of my friends off. At the same time, though, the shit was unpredictable and complicated as hell. People weren't winning and I had to like match everything up. So I said, same thing you did. I said, fuck it, I should build my own stuff and sell it.
Right.
That's what they're buying is me anyway. They're not buying the shit I'm selling anyhow.
Now that was another thing. Yeah, that was another thing I started realizing. I built a team of 500 to 1,000 people in a couple of months, and I'm making like 5 to 10% commission.
You make them somebody else's customer. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, shit, now there's somebody else's.
It's not building my brand. I'm earning literally a small fraction of the sales I'm generating. Yep. I was like, why not earn 100% of that? And actually have a brand where I can actually have repeat customers. And as well as I control the product they're getting and the value they're getting compared to just people are signing up because, hey, there's some fitness products and it's an opportunity. You know what I mean? So I realized that, and that I think kind of opened my potential to how much I can actually do. And that's kind of, I went pretty much full force with it. Built the business. I almost pretty much locked myself away in a room after I dropped out of college for like 6-7 months. But I still wanted to kind of build my personal brand. So it's kind of funny. I'd actually once a month, I would go do photo shoots and video shoots and bring different outfits and do all this different stuff, or whenever I would travel, and I would stack up content and I'd hire somebody to run my social media to post these content throughout the month while I'm at home literally locked myself in my room on my computer, building stores and working all day because I couldn't do both.
Seeing what you believe, or believing what you see on social media. Obviously it was there, but I mean that's smart. It's like I got some friends that they travel all the time. That's what you think when you look at Instagram. Really, they only travel a few times a year,
right?
But they're constantly repurposing content from when they were there to make you think they live on the road all the time.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. I literally wrote a month's worth of captions. It took me hours from different stuff. Because me and my friends, when we have conversations, it's usually always about entrepreneurship and different things that contribute to success. So my brain's always firing off, thinking about different things. And so I literally just pull out my phone. I'll just write things down whenever it's going through my mind. And I used to pay this kid. And it's funny now. This kid is actually killing it now, doing 6 figures a month on Shopify, because I used to pay him $800 a month and then pretty much mentor him, and he would run my social media because he used to build big viral pages, do the power likes and the comments and all that stuff, and he would just run my stuff, and I'm managing my business, focusing on it, because at the time, I didn't have the capital or the resources or even the networking to build a team where I can pay a bunch of different people to do all these different things and actually focus on putting out content on a consistent basis. It just wasn't possible.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff, man. So for the young folks that are watching this, right? If you got kids at home, they're in high school, make sure you share this with them. If you got somebody on your team, a young dude starting out in sales, make sure you share this with them too. For the young people, man, what would you what kind of advice would you give the young people that that right now they're thinking about either going to college or getting like a quote unquote real job. Like, what would you say? I mean, because you grew up privileged. Your father is, you know, an MD and went to medical school. Like, so he's a hustler in him, but he's also very traditional, went to college and everything else. So you grew up with, and you live in Orange County, nice part of the country, grew up with a different perspective than a lot of us did. So,
yeah, so you know,
what was it that you would say to the youngsters that are making that decision right now?
Well, so like I said, for number one for me was that my parents taught me very young to be like self-sufficient, right? But at the same time, and that also that, you know, being like excellent, being great was kind of just like an expectation. So kind of, for example, and at one point I kind of despised my parents for this, but I see how it's built my character and who I am. So now I'm actually grateful. But I remember when I was younger, if I would get good grades, my parents would just be like, okay. But my little brother and little sister got good grades. They'd be like, oh, we'll give you $5 per A or $10 per A. And I used to be like why don't I get paid? And they're like, because you're expected to do it. If you already got good grades, you've already proven yourself to get good grades, then why do we need to pay you to keep it up? That's the standard. That's the new standard. Right. So I kind of, you know,
this shit would piss me off too.
Oh, man. For sure. But it kind of
my money.
Yeah. So, but it kind of built this like this, you know, standard for me to always just kind of be my personal best, because that's just how things go down. And so like I said, you know, I never was like somebody who was like super poor, didn't have food on the table. I always had my basic needs. It's just anything extra I had to, you know, learn how to grind for to get. And so
sometimes that's worse though. I think sometimes starting out like middle or upper middle class, it's like even worse for you, because then you know, people discredit your story because they say, oh, Josh, he grew up rich, you know, or whatever. And,
for sure, and I hear it all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then on top of that, it's like your idea of lifestyle and stuff like that's way skewed from maybe what somebody else is. You know what I mean? And so it can be a disadvantage. A lot of people think just because you grew up in a nice home with good parents or money or whatever the case may be, do you have this huge advantage in life? But sometimes it can be a major setback.
Yeah. You know, I look at somebody like my dad. He pretty much grew up not having a home. His parents had him at like 17 and both moved to different states with their current boyfriend and girlfriends. And my dad just pretty much stayed at different friends' house. He pretty much lived out of a bag. You know, so for him, you know, that's his driving motivating factor that's got him to where he's at. Right. For me, it's just I understand that I can do more, and I've always been one of those people, you know, like dream big, and you know, I want the cars, I want the houses, I want the travel. You know, I always kind of seen that, especially with the new age of social media. You know, growing up, like I go on social media and I see that lifestyle's possible. So I'm like, if somebody can do it, so can I. But I would say my biggest advice for, you know, the young people watching this, because again, I was trained my whole life and I thought I was going to be a doctor, because that's what my parents said, like, go to school, you're going to be a doctor.
Usually that stuff runs in the family. Like if your dad did it, you're kind of expected. Same with lawyers. If your dad was a lawyer, you're kind of expected to be a lawyer. So
that's how it kind of always was. And so, that was my original plan. I was going to school for pre-med, but behind my parents' back, I went and switched all my classes to business because I wanted to, you know, learn more about business and psychology and all that type of stuff. So I did that, and even though I was in college, I had a 1.1 GPA because I never paid attention in class. So I'd always be building my business while in class. But I like to tell people, a lot of people think, you know, because they see me drop out and they see all my buddies are dropouts, they're like, you know, just drop out, you know, and build a business and do this
all
and
the billionaires are dropouts.
Yeah. So, you know, I think a lot of people, because we just had an event in Miami the other day, and literally people are like, you know, hey man, I'm killing it online. Like, I don't want to go to college. My parents want me to go to college. But I think, you know, it's because they see this persona on social media, they think that that's just the way to go, you know. But the reality is, you know, you're only seeing that because people with the personal brands are portraying that, you know. And to build a personal brand as well, you know, because you can build a business, but I think as well as building a personal brand is something that's going to be profitable for a long time, because you could take that to boost in your business.
It's true. So Richard Branson being a great example. That probably the greatest example ever is Branson. Like when he puts Virgin on something, people buy it. You know, Elon Musk is another great. When he puts Tesla on surfboards, they sell out. Flamethrowers, they sell out. You know, like
so. Like a lot of people, they're building businesses and doing well. They're doing e-commerce or they're doing social media marketing, but they want that to be their bread and butter. When the reality is, nobody really knows exactly where that's heading the next 5-10 years. Which is why I think building a personal brand is the most important thing.
So I know that Jeff Bezos is only going to get better at it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
And so I pretty much tell people, I'm like, you know, honestly, I do not regret going to college. I was there for only 4 months, but I rushed. I joined the frat. I met a lot of cool people. The girl I dated for like a year after that, I met in college. I met in college, but we didn't start dating like way after. But it's still those networking things that I value the experience. So I tell people, I'm like, look, dude, if you're not sure you want to go to college, just still go. You know, go to a university, go to a community college, get a few months in, see if you like it, see if it's for you. Still focus on building a business on the side. You don't need to go 100% all in. You're young, you have a lot of time. And kind of like my parents did not want me to drop out. When I told them I was considering dropping out, they were pissed, they were heated. But I kept showing them my results. I'm like, look, I made 10 grand this month, I made 15K, I made 27K. And kind of each time I showed them me, progressing more, that risk aversion of me dropping out for them, I just lowered a little bit. And eventually my dad, I had like a heart-to-heart talk with them, and he's like, look, man, I don't suggest you drop out of school, but he's like, but at the same time, he's like, you're 18 right now, and you're only gonna be this age once. He's like, college is always gonna be around. He's like, what you're doing right now, taking full advantage of this opportunity. He's like, I would hate to be the reason that you don't excel at that, and you go to college and do all this, and leave, potentially millions and millions of dollars on the table because you would have decided to stay in school because of me, right? Because you can always come back, but you're never ever gonna gain that experience again. So that's why I was like, all right, I'm out, I'm dropping out. Like I said, I had 1.1, so like I was gonna be on academic probation anyways next semester if I didn't drop out, So I kind of really had no choice. So I would tell people, hey, go to school for a bit, see if it's for you, like network like a pro, meet as many people as you can, figure out what you like, what you don't like, but at the same time, maybe pick up like a sales job. I think, that network marketing, even though it's a few months and I kind of been selling my whole life, I think
cut your teeth in a deal like that. I know that's how I felt too.
Yeah. So I think, like all those skills, you need to develop those skills before you can ever really be successful in business.
True.
Because it doesn't matter if step one, build a store, step two, sell a product, step three, run ads, if you know all that information. If you're not prepared mentally, mindset's not ready, your conviction, your confidence, your belief level, all that stuff is, your sales skills, persuasiveness skills, how you influence people. If all of those are not up to par, it doesn't matter how much information you know, you're never ever going to succeed long term in business.
Yeah, and another thing that you kind of pointed out there too is, for the young folks, I wouldn't go into debt trying to figure out what you're going to do in life, right? So like those of you that you're going to be a doctor, like Josh here, like going into college, seeing if that life's for you or not makes sense. But a lot of people, man, they just go, I don't know what I want to do in life, so I'm just going to show up to college and they rake up all this debt. They rake up all this debt, and then they don't get a chance to be an entrepreneur in their 30s because they have to have a job to pay for the debt they ran up at college in their 20s. So if you got a dream, you're young. My best guess, and this is how I got where I'm at today, is I just chased my dream young. When I took a commission-only job working in the mortgage business at 23 years old, I didn't have shit to lose. I didn't have any kids yet. I wasn't married yet. And if I missed a paycheck, it was cool because my truck was paid off and I was used to living on $300 a week any damn way. So like, I wasn't going to miss anything, right? But what happened was the exact opposite of that. Within a month of working there, I made about $20,000, which used to take me over half a year to make. And then I realized like, wow, I'm glad I took this chance, right? Instead of going to college, a lot of my friends would show up after college, 25, 26 years old, and they're going and working for $30,000 a year somewhere, which, that's what they wanted to do, but they couldn't fathom the money that I was making at the same age, being a high school dropout.
Right.
They couldn't fathom it.
And this is the age right now too, if you're 16 or 22, even up to 25 years old. Like you said, you have nothing to lose. So one of the things I like to tell people, people are like, well, what if I fail? Or, what if it's not for me? I'm like, look, dude, I put my back against the wall. I give myself literally no other options. It's either I'm all in or I'm not even gonna try it.
And you believe that it can be done.
Yeah.
You have no doubt that you can do it.
Yeah, and not at all. And so like when I put my back against the wall, if something like fucks up or goes wrong, or it looks like shit hits the fan, I'm screwed. I can't turn around and run away and try something else. My back's against the wall. I can only keep moving forward. So I just gotta find a different way to do it. And I think I adopted that mindset, and as well as I train my subconscious mind that everything I believe I can do, starting with like small little wins. So for example, if I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pick up this water bottle right here and pick it up, then that means I do whatever I said I'm gonna do. And so every time I set a small goal and I got it done, my mind's like, look, dude, you stay winning. You keep getting it done. I set my dream car goal, that I wanted one before like 25, and I got it at like 18 or 19. And so I'm like, dude, everything I say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep doing. So I kind of just kept training that subconscious mind. And now it's crazy because my first year while I was in college, I did probably less than 100K because it's like, only 4 or 5 months. Second year, a few $100,000, and now I did freaking 400,000 on one webinar before. So seeing like those numbers, I'm like, holy shit, like if I can do that now, like imagine 6 months from now, a few years from now. And even if I lost it all, I still got like 8, 9, 10 years before I can still make it back and still be young and enjoy everything.
And you have the investments working for you.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, even if you lost one thing or another, you're very diversified. It's very unlikely that you're going to lose everything, right? You're going to lose one thing or two things. That's what we just actually posted back in our group. And I was like, how many streams of income? Because I was thinking about you, obviously. I was like, how many streams of income do you guys have? And I have about 30. You know what I mean? Just little odds and ends, and some of them pay 6 figures a year, some of them pay 5 figures a year, some of them pay 7 figures a year. You know, but you know, I can't, like, I built what I call a bulletproof business. Like, you can't put me out, because if you just snuff one thing out, man, I'm like, I'll backdoor something else. You know, and I feel confident like you do too. It's like I always tell everybody, if all this shit did fly out the window, I could just go back in sales and still crush it, right? And you could too with your network marketing and webinar and all the other experience. You go sell anything and make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Roofs, houses, whatever the fuck, you know. So for the next part, for the older folks, right, the people that are 40 and up that are watching this, and we got quite a few of them here, obviously, because that's what I fit into. What would you say to them, right? There's lots of them that have been at this job, that are making $150,000, $250,000 a year, been at the same job for forever, know they need to level up and become self-employed or start their own business or whatever you want to call it. What kind of advice would you give to people that feel trapped?
So probably my biggest advice, because I get a lot of older people that hit me up too, and as well as like my parents' friends, they'll reach out to me. I got old teachers reaching out to me. Like pretty much anybody I come into contact with. And one of the main reasons is because I live a pretty like extravagant lifestyle. I travel like, you know, probably like 60% of the year, and you know, we're doing these cars.
And it looks fun. Like you guys make everything look really fun.
We're always having a good time. Everybody's happy, and as well as I like to do like outrageous marketing. So I want to grab attention. I want to do this crazy stuff. So I think a lot of people see that, and it draws them in. But at the same time, I think it's very important to not get caught up on that. Because I think a lot of people, they kind of they position themselves, and the way they feel about themselves is based on how they see these other people, right? Like, man, this guy's 20, he's doing all this, he's doing all this.
Depressed.
Yeah, and like, you know, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 30, and I'm, you know, still doing this and doing this. So I think that at the same time, you have to realize that, you know, it might not have even been possible for you to be in this sort of position because, you know, 20 years ago, this, you know, opportunity that I tapped into was not available. But at the same time, you can't use that as a reason to hold you back from what you're doing today. So obviously, you know, sales is one of the best skills you need to learn, but I think what's also very important to learn is how to build influence in some sort of specific niche. So whether it's, you know, your brand, your business, like if you want to, you know, get to that next level to build some sort of influence and authority in that niche and just kind of target that niche. So for example, I think you said you used to do like social media marketing, something like that. Now, that's something that old people, if they really take enough time, that they can master. Or it can be whether it's, you know, podcasting. It can be
called y'all old people. I'm just laughing.
older people.
You old motherfuckers.
But so whether it's, you know, like, you know, podcasting on a specific niche and, you know, building income that way by doing streams. I think one of the biggest things I would like to say is putting your face on camera. You know, and obviously my strategies might be a lot different and not what people want to hear. But what I think is going to be the most profitable thing. Right. So, you know, putting your face on camera, you've obviously seen, has proven to be a lot more profitable than pretty much a lot of other businesses, you know? And I think a lot of people obviously are going to be uncomfortable doing that. You know, I look back at my old videos when I used to be on camera, my voice is shaking, I'm sitting here, I'm nervous, I'm, you know, stuttering my words. Right. And obviously you get more comfortable as you do it.
Practice.
Right. So I think, you know, building a brand that way. For example, I have a buddy, his name is Barry DiGidio. He's probably closer to around 30. And he's all traditional businesses. He has a paintball park. He has a place that's called Roundhouse Burger, which is a burger joint. And even though they're like traditional businesses, he's using social media to literally soar them to the next level.
Right.
You know, literally.
And his competitors are sleeping probably.
Yeah, right? They're not even in the same league.
Yeah.
Like there's no competition whatsoever. And he's going out his way to grow the market, to get influencers there, to go to networking events, to film videos, you know, to put out all this content. And it's literally like, I'm seeing him, he just got verified the other day, just because of like his businesses, and he's doing press and he's doing all these different things that is, you know, literally taking him to an entirely different level. You know, no traditional businesses are doing that. So whether some people are, you know, they have their own business right now and it's not where they want to be, and they're doing it, you know, the traditional way, they're just having a brand that doesn't really show their face or has no personality to it, then they're obviously going to lose in the long run. Right? So, and you said some of these people, if they're doing 150K, 200K a year, but they want to get to that next level, then building passive income investments. You know, for example, like I said, the ATM business, that's something per ATM that does, you know, maybe 2 to 3 hours a month of work to just go to the bank and refill it. And it's not going to make you a freaking millionaire unless you have, you know, a huge team and you have, you know, 50 plus ATMs or however many it needs, you know, depending on the locations. But if you can make $500 a month, $1,000 a month, and do a few of those times 5 times 10,
just like a rental property.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With less startup costs.
Yeah, you know, you know, you're putting 10 grand in it instead of 100.
Yeah,
you know?
And you're making pretty much similar returns.
Yep.
So you know, you're doing that. Let's say you have 5, 10 ATMs locally in your local city. You can make an extra 5 to 10K a month for that. That's an extra $100,000 a year almost. And you know, that's life changing for some people. And not everybody wants to be, you know, a multi-millionaire. You know, I mean, they probably do. But the reality is, I think a lot of people would be very comfortable making an extra 100K a year, 50K a year, to pay down more debt.
Money to most people,
right?
Most people that an extra 100K is life changing fucking money.
Yeah, as well as
that just shows where our mindset is, because you're like, damn, 100K, I still got to go extra 100K. I can go find another one on top of that.
Yeah.
But to most people, it's life changing money,
Right. So yeah, it kind of all depends on your standards, where you're comfortable living. Obviously, once you start making more money, your standards of life are going to increase, and you're probably going to want to make more money to fill that void. But again, there's so many, I think, opportunities. Social media marketing, that's something that older people can excel in. Right? Let's say you have a few hours of extra free time a week. Most people will probably take somebody that's 30 more serious than me walking into a business saying like, hey, let me do social media marketing. Even though I'm younger, I might know more about social media. It's just the perception of somebody young, managing,
age equals
doing
wisdom is
right,
what the perception is, yes. So speaking of social media, obviously you're big on social media and been using it for a while. A lot of folks, my average client is probably 35 years old.
Right.
And a lot of them think their customers not on social media and stuff like that. But the climate of social media is changing a lot. Like, do you even have a Facebook page?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
So like,
I actually started doing like affiliate marketing, a lot of that on Facebook as well too.
Facebook's changed a lot in the last year, man. The algorithms have changed, the way the groups are managed has changed, the way that the engagement goes. Like, man, we have a group that's 80,000 people. It's the largest sales group on Facebook.
Yeah.
And man, you can't even hardly find shit in there. The algorithm's so messed up right now. And I've noticed there's been a big switch over to Instagram, right? Which is obviously owned by Facebook as well.
Right.
There's been this big switch to Instagram. I spend more time on Instagram than I do Facebook, and I still look at Facebook as like work for me, whereas Instagram's still pretty fun too, even though I make sales and meet people like you from it and stuff. But
right.
But so you're using Facebook, but it looks like you're mainly on Instagram. Like that's your place, right?
So mainly on Instagram. I actually started mainly on Facebook when I first started building my personal brand. I did affiliate marketing on Facebook. I've made probably like 10, 15K a month doing that while in college. But I also seen a lot of people that are like 30, 40, 50, 60 on Facebook who were killing it with affiliate marketing. Literally with simple strategies like going to these sales group pages, going to affiliate marketing group pages, and just adding everybody as a friend that's active, and then posting quality, valuable content, and then following up with products and services. That's how I first started making pretty good money on social media. Then I would go on Instagram, and I started doing that on Instagram as well. And I would go on Facebook and be like, hey, here's how I'm making money on Instagram. If you want to buy this, I'm doing like a webinar. I'm teaching you how to do it. And it's like boom, that just opened up an additional stream of income by just doing the same thing.
Yep.
But I think, in my personal opinion, Instagram is probably the best social media platform. And I think the reason why is because when you go to somebody's page, you can get a very good feeling of who they actually are as a person just within a few minutes. By seeing their content, their captions, their stories, the highlights. Like you can kind of get a gist of who they are as a person, what they do, or what their values are, or whatever it is. At least for people that are pretty active when it comes to posting.
Right.
Facebook, I feel like you have to do a bit more digging to get that vibe. As well as Facebook's, it's a bit more. If you don't really know somebody, you're not going to comment on the picture.
Right.
Usually people comment on people's stuff that they have some sort of connection to,
right,
or that they want to build a connection to. Instagram is like, hey, if you disagree and you like this content, you engage with it, you comment with it, you share it.
Doesn't feel as personal.
Yeah, it's more personal.
Yeah.
And I think Instagram has gave the ability to for people to really get to know somebody through live videos and Instagram stories. I think if I didn't do Instagram stories, just my social media sales would probably be 60-70% less if I was just making money or building my brand off posting content. But another platform that I think a lot of people don't tap into or don't think about is actually YouTube.
Yeah,
so
that's a big one.
I built a YouTube with like 35K subs within like 3 or 4 months. And I was posting pretty consistently, like 4 to 5 times, probably a week. And I started. The more I posted, the faster I would grow. And it's very easy for me to get at the top and to rank just by doing keywords and the thumbnail and how I titled the video. And I built a following where that following transferred over to an email list, to my Instagram followers, to Facebook, to my podcast. And that's YouTube helps me keep my podcast top 100 ranked. And I think that's another strong platform for people to get to know you. Because for example, me and you we're talking to the camera, people listen to us, but this is how we were talking when we first walked in.
Right.
So it's like, this is like who we are as people.
Right.
Some people on YouTube, they're kind of a front, like it's very scripted. But like, I think when you're very raw, very authentic with your following, then you can build a very strong brand.
They want you, hence you too, right? That's really what it was created for.
Exactly. And whether it's using YouTube to showcase a product, or to showcase, your personal services. I think it's a very huge opportunity. A lot of my friends that do internet marketing, and they pretty much are mainly only on YouTube, not on Instagram, they're all doing multiple millions of sales a year.
Yeah.
Especially when you
nail it, that's the spot.
Yeah.
You get SEO, you get search engine optimization within YouTube and within Google.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know how to like traffic, retargeting, Google Display Network. Like once you nail it, I know some people like Ty Lopez is a good example. You know, once he nailed it, man, he made a fuck ton of money from it. Still continues to do so because of it.
I had one friend, he made one YouTube video and just titled it like pretty decently, and it showed up as a recommended under one of my videos because we're friends, and then it just took off. Like, but this is like a month and a half after it's posted, only had 1,000 views, and then like randomly 45 days later, boom, all the way to 300,000 views.
Wow.
He grows 20,000 subs in like 2 days.
Wow.
And now he started selling products on YouTube and doing all that type of stuff. So I think that's a big opportunity. It is a lot more work than most social media, making videos, editing videos.
Right.
Then you gotta start having your landing pages, and your keywords, and actually be able to capture those leads and actually funnel them. But I do think it is very powerful. I personally, honestly, haven't made a video in like 6 months. I know I probably should. We travel and we film all this content, and we've been stacking content. We just haven't really been releasing it. But it is a big opportunity for people that tap into it.
Yeah, well, this will definitely be up on YouTube, man. So, well, before we get out of here, man, first of all, it's been cool to have you come by and talk to us. We had another entrepreneur in his 20s come by this week and speak with us as well. So we usually don't do one live stream every couple weeks or so. You guys been in for a treat this week. We hit you up twice, almost back to back. So, but before we take off, man, how can they find you? How can they figure out like what you're up to with your mastermind and your ATM business? Like, how can they get in on the Josh Madrid train, man?
So you guys can go on Instagram and follow me at JetSetFly, JetSet. If you see it right here, cut in the chain. Or on Facebook, Josh King Madrid. My fan page is verified. And then YouTube, JetSetFly, personal website, joshkingmadrid.com. Pretty much you can find me anywhere between JetSetFly or Josh King Madrid. If you Google it, all my stuff will probably pop up too. So.
What's the story with JetSet? I meant to ask you that.
What's the story with it? It's actually really funny. So when I was in like a freshman year of high school, actually, I actually came across a dude who is anonymous on social media, and he just had his page like Jet Set Living or something like that. And it was just pictures of him traveling, having nice cars, literally just living this insane lifestyle. And I like fell in love with that lifestyle because I was like, that's how I want to live. Like I want to be, living this crazy type of lifestyle. And I'm like, 13 at the time or something like that. And so it's funny, so I made a new Instagram. I stopped using my old Instagram that I was using since like 8th grade or whatever, because that's when it came out. And then I just called it Jet Set Fly. And I remember kids at my school used to make fun of me because they were like, why would your name be Jet Set Fly? That's not your name. Why are you doing this? Like, because Instagram, nobody started a business or talked about entrepreneurship on Instagram back then. It was like you have an Instagram, you have a couple friends on there, you got your family, and that's it.
Yep.
So I started doing that, and I started posting, like mindset stuff, motivational pictures, and reposting other dope pictures with like my own quotes. And that's pretty much when people ask me, why do you have Jet Set Fly? And I'm like, that's just that ideal lifestyle I want to live. I want a jet set life, traveling, do what I want, when I want, on my own terms. Fly, obviously, because flying between different places, and as well as too, I was a high jumper and a long jumper in school. So I was good. I made state like multiple years in a row. So I was like, when I'm on the field, I can fly, dude.
That's like your cruise name too, right? Like y'all are like
then I started
go by that, right?
Yeah, I started kind of branding like the movement kind of as Team Jet Set. So people who follow me, Team Jet Set. It's not really necessarily a crew. It's more just kind of a model,
like
lifestyle.
Closing Nation.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. And that's kind of the vibe I had, and people, they really correlated with it. They liked the ideals of the brand, what it meant, what it stood for. And it's kind of funny, I started doing that when I was just a random broke little 13-year-old, and it's actually kind of turned into something that's real and authentic that people, from all over the world tune into and pay attention to. And that's pretty much it. Now it's just, that's who I am,
Let that be a lesson as we close this out. Like, man, he comes up with this Instagram handle. He has this vision for a bigger version of himself where he's going to have to stretch his identity and grow into the person that he wants to become like. And friends and family and school are like, hey, what the hell are you doing, right? How many times has that happened to you, right? Where you have this vision and you have this idea that you're going to do some next level stuff, you're going to grow, you've got to grow to become the person that you want to be in life, and then people start saying, they try shit on your dreams, right? Like they just try to find a way to pull you, be crabs in a bucket, and pull you back down to their stuff, man. And well, I'm glad, dude, that you didn't listen, man. I think you got a cool
Thank
brand.
God,
I'm a
man.
big fan, man.
Thank
I
God.
appreciate you coming by today, man.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, brother.
So check out Josh at Jet Set Fly on Instagram. Dude's got some cool stories, some cool cars. You guys will like him. Make sure you send him a DM. Tell him that you seen him here at the BFA headquarters. We're out of here.